Hello and welcome to Coworking with Iris, where we talk about coworking and community. This is episode 27, and today I'm talking with Thilo Utke of the Cobot team. And I'm excited to be talking with Thilo, who founded a coworking space back in 2009 and quickly founded Cobot in order to manage the space. Cobot is the longest or the oldest co-working software on the market, perhaps with the exception of Nadine. I'm not sure how many people are using Nadine these days, but a lot of people are using Cobot. Let's get started. Thilo, welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Iris. Great to be on the show. I'm totally excited.
Me too. Tell us, what is your co-working story?
Wow. Yeah, in a way, co-working really fixed work for me. I always knew how I wanted to work, and I kind of find all the answers in co-working. So to step back a little bit, 2006, I came from the university applying for a job and found out nothing really offered how I wanted to work, because I learned interesting ways to work as a developer during university. So I co-founded a consultancy with my co-founder, Alex, to do just that. And we had the freedom to bring in our own peers, learn from each other. And we exercised that kind of inviting people to our space, exchanging, or not a space, it was an office back then, but also exchanging ideas and work with other companies on the same floor that started around the same time, had the same ideas. It was totally coincidence. And in 2007, there was a conference in Berlin called 9 to 5 that had the subject was digital bohem, as it was called in Germany, that were these people working on laptops in cafes. And there, a professor talked about spaces actually for Africa to share resources. And we said, oh, we need something like that for tech people here in Berlin. And that was like, so we kind of converted our office and talked with people on our floor a little bit to make it more like that. That was 2008. We kind of got this whole thing going. We didn't know about co-working back then, and built the first directory. My partner Alex built the first kind of co-working directory for Germany without knowing that it actually is, because the idea spread it. And then in 2009, we moved into the actual co-working space, learned by then that it's called co-working. That space served our purpose better to actually have meetups and meet other peoples. And we quickly found out that actually running this space while doing the development consulting was kind of a chore. So because we're a software developer, we thought like, okay, maybe we can build software for that. So some months later in 2010, we had our first in-house version of Cobot and quickly asked other people if they want to use it as well. And yeah, the rest is history.
And I think I met you at the first Juicy, which was in Austin at the AT&T Center, or whatever that AT&T place is called. And so we sat in a technology unconference session. And at the time I was working for Nextface, and we had built our own software also internally. And we were talking about, should we really do this and license it and sell it? Or should we not? And it seems like at that point, you guys were really just getting started going out into the world with the software. Yeah, that must have been 2011. So maybe a year later.
Yes.
Awesome. Wow. So Cobot has been around a really long time. What is the biggest change that you've seen in the co-working software offerings in the past year, in 2016?
So definitely requirements that you don't expect directly from co-working. but more of the traditional office sharing businesses. So the actual ability to manage offices and office leases, but also more flexible pricing things like real pay-as-you-go pricing, where you track the time that the people stay in the space per hour even. Other things are probably also due to the fact that people now know different co-working software, so they demand more integrated, like marketing automation, also more control over actually who's accessing the system, which again comes from bigger spaces with more traditional structures within their team. So this kind of thing. And another thing that's really big now is like managing multiple spaces. For once, that because established spaces spread out to more locations, and from the other side, that actually more from the office center side, companies switch their model and want to manage more space locations as well.
And there's a lot of, I see a lot of bells and whistles nowadays in co-working software. Do you find that you are responding to the needs of the market, of your customers, or are you also, or I should say that differently, are you responding to the needs of your customers only, or are you also looking at what else is out there in co-working software, what other software companies are doing, and adding those options to your software as well? I'm thinking specifically right now about the floor plan feature that Office R&D uses, and started offering the floor plan feature. And as a former operator, I would have really appreciated that floor plan. We used floor plans at NextSpace. We built our own for all of our spaces, and it really helped in training. It helped training somebody, this is where so-and-so sits. It helped with name recognition and just really getting to know with who's in the space. It also helped with mail delivery. So do you find yourself sort of addressing the needs, of the market, or do you find yourself also looking at what others are doing and adding those options in?
So we looking more at the actual needs of the market. So we attend lots of conferences, talk with lots of people, and not so much looking what others are doing, because I think you would go kind of crazy, want to do everything.
Yeah.
There's so much what you can do. And of course, there are also very good reasons to do certain things. So basically wrote down kind of a manifest of all values, what we want to support, and basically align the features that we implement on that in most parts. And then the next, where we listen to our customers. So help them growing with us.
I love that you wrote down your values and really decided what it was you wanted to be in alignment with, and that you build based on that. That is really amazing. I think that when companies have their values really clear, they're able to make decisions that are best for them. And I appreciate shopping or supporting a company that does that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and do your customers also help you respond? Do you also respond to your customers through allowing them to help determine your values?
Indirectly, because in a way we see our offspring in the co-working world. So actually the guiding values are kind of the co-working values.
Yeah.
So we saw how we can that apply to a product that you develop, and the other one are from our backgrounds as software developers, so as craftsmen. There's this agile movement. So this is like in the agile manifesto. So like the co-working manifesto and the agile manifesto, basically are the basis we built the Cobot manifesto on. So we really called that and made it in a similar fashion, because it kind of states the other side as well, right? It doesn't say we just do this and this, it say like we do this over that. And I think that's really important because it recognizes that the other values are also important, but like in the point where we have to decide between both to make like a trade-off, we get like a guide where we should lean to, or like a remembering where we should want to lean to.
Wow. Well, so besides your values, what makes Cobot unique and different than the multiple options of co-working software platforms that are on the market today?
So we try to, or like we really aim to have good usability with a high flexibility, which are really forces that clash a lot. So we really try to drastically ease everyday task of Space Manager without trying to automate, on the other hand, the whole human element away. Because we think that's really important in co-working, the interaction with people. So we try to be really smart about repetitive tasks like billing and usage tracking, and at the same time allow the manager to run their space the way they want, and not face it at this end, not overloading them the option at the same time, which also requires a lot of focus. So we don't try to come back to the floor plan. We don't try to solve everything, but what we solve, we really think hard and iterate about it a lot to have like a really streamlined solution for that. And also in a way of being open, we try to be extendable, meaning that we have a lot of free applications that you can plug onto Cobot to do certain tasks that you need to be done with Cobot, but most people, or a lot of people, don't. And we provide a really open and complete API, which means everything that you see and can click in Cobot can also be used by somebody who's capable of programming, or by services that connect to other services to extend Cobot and even get the data out. I mean, we have competitors that actually offer an importer directly from Cobot.
Wow.
But we really think like you should be in charge of your data and you should be in control of it. And on the other hand, this complete API also allowed, for example, our bigger customers to build their own solution on top of our infrastructure. So they don't have to worry about billing or anything, but they can have their like a mobile application or completely custom experience for their members, and can use all the knowledge that sits in the system.
Wow. So your open API really means that I, as an operator, could purchase the SaaS service that Cobot offers and really extend it to work with all of the systems that I'm currently operating on. So MailChimp for my mailing lists, Liquid Space for calendaring, or would you replace Liquid Space for calendaring?
You can do both. I mean, especially like MailChimp and Liquid Space, there we have already like small apps, for example, that put all the members on your MailChimp mailing list. Liquid Space can be synchronized so that you can see who has booked resources to Liquid Space, so you avoid double booking. But yeah, you can even go much further than this, like building your own co-working software kind of on top of it, only for your space. So, and connect it, for example, with your CRM system, and only using the member listing in the backend to actually store related data, but in the front end, you never see that.
Wow, that is awesome. I'm learning a lot about Cobot today. So what would you say is the biggest benefit to using Cobot over, let's say I'm an operator who has, I have a relatively small space. I have around 40 to 60 members, and I've just been managing everything on spreadsheets. Spreadsheets have worked fine for me. But I just attended a session at Juicy Canada where Angel told me no matter what I do to get on. And so I think I'm looking at what's out there. What does Cobot offer me over just using my spreadsheets?
Okay, nothing beats Excel. You can do everything with it. And it's like a big hammer and everything looks like a nail.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like the power and the danger of it. So with a software, you get more structure, you get more ease of use. You can actually hand it to somebody else to use it, right? And Cobot can actually take care of getting your bills paid.
Oh.
I think that's something that Excel can't do yet. And you actually get an onboarding process so that member can manage themselves. So you don't have to enter them in Excel spreadsheet yourself.
Oh, wow. Okay. So when, let's say I decide to purchase Cobot and use it for my space, do you manage the onboarding, or am I in charge of managing the onboarding for my 40 members that I'm going to onboard immediately?
What do you mean with like the existing members and you would just want to have them in the system and you have the data somewhere already, or do you actually meaning like a new person comes in the space?
Members, and I have the data on my spreadsheets.
Okay, yeah, with that we can help. Usually we ask people to send their spreadsheets to us. So we set them up in the system, and then you get all the data from your spreadsheet in the system, and then you're free to send out an invite whenever you're ready, or you can tell us to send out invite, and then they can click on a link to actually claim their account, and from then on starting to manage the membership themselves.
Mm-hmm. Lovely. And who are your typical customers, if we can describe any co-working spaces?
Maybe it makes more sense like what are the customers we aiming for, and that are definitely like the people that understand co-working in the original sense. So there are people that don't have the time to fiddle around with everything, that have people to take care of, a space to take care of. So they can easily use Cobot to get things started and forget about all this repetitive task. These are our typical clients. And then they can be small, but they can also be big. It really comes more down to the mindset of the client.
And so are your customers, so they can be small and can be big. What is your customer base made up of currently? Are they majority small community-based co-working spaces, or do you also have a lot of sort of the bigger spaces that are coming online now?
So we have this, I think we have the same distribution as the industry. So lots of small spaces with members, managing their members, and kind of middle-sized spaces that currently expanding and just asking, okay, I want to open my second location now after they have been 3 years with us, and we're like, yeah, this is awesome news to hear. And at the same time, especially this year, we had so many new customers who said like, oh, we have this big plan and we want to open 10 plus locations. And here are our processes. How can we adapt that? And these kind of things. So yeah, a lot of small spaces, more and more bigger spaces. Exciting times.
Yes, it is. And so you do offer plans for enterprise and multi-location spaces then?
So yes, we offer plans for enterprises and multiple locations. So we have special agreements for big spaces that usually need a lot more support in question how to implement Cobot in their existing processes, that also need access to custom development from us. And we have support for multiple locations that memberships can roam. We want to extend that and make it more visible and accessible to existing customers, as we saw that now we kind of an inflection point where more and more established spaces expand into multiple locations. And yeah, kind of small I wouldn't say there's a consolidation, it's because, but like the growth is just accelerating so much in co-working.
Yeah. And so you're seeing that growth accelerate. What are the trends that you're noticing in co-working and in the growth?
It's definitely more bigger spaces, more locations, franchises, experience with new pricing models, like pay-as-you-go pricing, really. So metered co-working, kind of. More corporate-like structures when people try to use Cobot from an enterprise background, or like a business center, like from a business center background. Because we have some business center customers already some time, but yeah, you always can tell like what they expect and how they operate.
Right.
And we have to make it also easy for them to transition and embrace co-working.
Yeah. Yeah. And so in that, I'm curious, co-working, like software, like co-working, has, many different flavors. And as we discussed about your values, I can see, people aligning very well with Cobot and with Cobot's values. And I can see existing people, existing spaces in the world not necessarily in alignment with Cobot's values. Besides the values, what's one reason that you might steer someone away from using Cobot and send them to a different software provider?
So yes, this is, as I said, Cobot automates things, really tries to be smart about that. But to make really use of that, you have to come with some trust in that. So you have to relinquish control. If you're a person who wants to control everything, double check every invoice that goes out, controlling where every coworker sits at every time down to the seat level, go back and forth and adjust things all the time, review everything, then Cobot is definitely not the right tool for you, because you have to hand the things to Cobot and let Cobot run its course.
Because it's a bot.
Exactly. It's a robot, and it's there to help you. And either it's the same like when you have an employee, either you let him do it his way, and then he takes care of it, and you trust that he does it right, and from time to time you check on him the results if everything is working. But if you come in between all the time and nag him to do something different and correct him all the time in a way of how they do it, then it's not a successful relationship.
Wow, I love that analogy. I really like that analogy. That's awesome. So back to the functionality. What financial reporting do you offer? I did notice on your LinkedIn page that you're actually listed as accounting, of course, because there's no co-working industry yet in LinkedIn. But so do tell me about your financial reporting.
Wait, I actually noted down somewhere here. Wanna wait. Okay. So yes, we have like the most important things, like the numbers, monthly revenue broken down into different revenue type, where they come from, or you can also break it down by accounting code if you have them set them up. Of course, how much is still outstanding. You can have rent roll, you can have various exports to QuickBooks or Xero, and there's a bunch more when you look into the add-ons. So, and yeah, it's really confusing when you have international customers, because there are so many different ways to look at accounting.
Mm-hmm. And so are you able really to meet the needs of customers?
Yes.
Or that must be a real big challenge in terms of the financial reporting.
Yeah, basically at some point, sorry, you want to finish?
Oh, sorry. I was just saying as well as even the currency, just with all of the different types of currency across the world.
Well, yeah, actually, not so long ago, we learned that actually there are currencies that have 4 dots after, no, 4 digits after for the cents.
After the decimal point. Wow.
Yeah, after that. Yeah.
That is crazy.
And that was like, yeah, okay. But we could adapt to that. So, but that was like a real surprise. Definitely all the things you thought would be proven wrong. But as I said, we have an API and we also have like certain tool sets, which also makes it easier for somebody with a little knowledge in programming to slap together a custom report. And we have bigger spaces using that usually because they all use different in-house software for bookkeeping that also changes when they change the bookkeeping firm and these kind of things. And we would go crazy if we tried to provide that for everyone in every possible way. So we provide all the data that they need and make it easy to access this data. Mm-hmm. And we definitely will improve on that further because numbers are important to know if your business is doing right.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I did notice that the dashboard offers multiple metadata insights. So different KPIs. Are those customizable? Is that dashboard customizable and the KPIs that it surfaces? Or do you predetermine which are displayed there?
These are predetermined by us at the moment. Making it customizable would be like it's an extra step, and at the point we decided, okay, what are the most important numbers that you need to show running a co-working business? And this is the number you get in and the people going in and out.
Yeah. Yeah, those are good numbers. Those are the most important numbers, right?
Yeah.
And you did mention that you value flexibility, which I can imagine being really challenging in developing software. There's currently, I think, around 11,000 co-working spaces in the world, which means there's probably about 10,000 different business models out there. How customizable is Cobot? As an operator, can I add my own membership type plans, or am I within a set of sort of predetermined menu plans created by the Cobot team?
No. So we have a very flexible structure for paying either recurrently or per use. So you can have even optional extra on it. You can have different long billing cycles for recurring payments. You can have minimum commitments. You can have including co-working passes or booking hours in recurring memberships. You can have individual booking prices for every member if you like to. You can force them to actually pay up front before they can make a booking. You can have specific time passes for different times of day, which is important. For example, when you want to fill your space in the evening or want give some discounts when people work on the weekend. You can have passes being shared among teams. We support special offers with plans and individual conditions. Kind of the limit is you have to understand it when you look at this, right? So we don't have anything that is like, oh, price progresses down with your length of your membership or these kind of thing. It should be something that you can present to someone and say, okay, this is how much I pay for a booking and this is how much I pay per month.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. I recently consulted on a piece of software that was just released, co-working software that was just released, and they thought I was crazy. Strange membership types that I told them that they needed to be prepared to handle, and different crazy membership menu options. And, you know, what I just kept saying over and over is, look, this is an incredibly flexible industry. It has to be flexible. So I applaud you guys in being as flexible as you are. What other reporting options do you offer?
So there's like booking, resource utilization, new members, plans over time, different views on who's in the space, who's coming, like how well is the space attended, what kind of memberships are in the space, how much they use of their actual usage that they have available. Yeah, these kind of things.
Awesome.
And many more in our add-ons. Yeah, you can go crazy when you then use a business intelligence tool and feed it our data if you like to.
Awesome. And Thilo, what's next?
Iris, sorry, yes. I have 1 minute left on my battery.
Okay. Thilo, thank you so much for coming in, even without a battery today, and speaking.
Sorry.
Wonderful to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's yeah, as I said, I was so excited and I forgot my charger.
These things happen to all of us. I completely understand. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And Thilo has dropped from the conversation. And I hope that you have a wonderful week. And if you have other interests in co-working, please go to other episodes at coworkingwithiris.co, where you can also subscribe to the podcast. Keep doing the great work that you do every day with your members, and keep changing the world.